Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me. Today I'll be discussing Ciúnas or Silence, a short Irish language film directed by Tristan New. At first glance, this film appears quiet and minimal, but beneath its surface lies a powerful and emotionally charged story about a family in crisis. The film unfolds entirely within the confined space of a car. A couple is on their way to pick up their daughter from the hospital, likely after a traumatic incident. What's striking is that the film avoids lengthy dialogue or over explanation. Instead, it relies heavily on silence, body language, and framing to tell the story. The fact that the film is in the Irish language adds an extra layer of cultural richness. But beyond language, what truly resonates is the emotional stillness between the characters. You feel the weight of everything they don't see. From my perspective, Ciúnas is a brilliant example of how film can communicate deep emotional truth without relying on exposition. It a case study in emotional paralysis, the breakdown of communication, and complexity of parental roles. In this presentation, I explore how the director used mise-en-scène, cinematography, sound design, and performance to create a deeply moving narrative of unresolved trauma. In Ciúnas, silence isn't emptiness, is the loudest part of the story. Section 1. Mise-en-scène. The car as a confined emotional arena. The entire film takes place within and around a single vehicle, a deliberate creative decision that turns the car into a confined emotional arena. The physical arrangement of the characters speaks volumes. The daughter sits alone in the back seat while the parents occupy the front. This is not natural layout, it's a visual expression of emotional disconnection. A telling moment occurs early on when the father slows down to consider picking up a hitchhiker, possibly the son of a family friend. The mother immediately asserts control, saying nothing more than keep driving. When the father hesitates, she exhales sharply, a sigh of disappointment. This moment doesn't escalate into conflict. Instead, the silence that follows is weighted with unspoken authority and resignation. The mise-en-scene here adjusts a car, a gesture, and two restrained reactions sets the tone for the rest of the film. Emotion is compressed, not expressed. Most significantly, what stands out in this scene is not what's said, but what isn't. There are no gestures of comfort, no warmth, glance in hands, or only blanket stares and still bodies. For me, this captures the essence of emotional paralysis, not anger, not grief, but numbness. For the cinematography, framing isolation through the lens. Visually, Ciúnas uses the camera to reinforce emotional isolation. Characters are often framed separately even when seated side by side. Close-up dominate, but not to show growth, instead they expose rapture. One standout moment follows an argument about the daughter's phone. When she asks to send a message, her mother shuts her down coldly. The daughter doesn't reply, instead the camera lingers on her face, silent, hurt, quietly angry. This use of framing tells us more than words ever could. Her silence becomes her resistance, then an audience isn't shown her mother's reaction, nor her father. We are forced to sit with her in the quiet moment of pain. This is where Ciúnas excels. It refuses to explain. Instead of using reaction shots or dramatic cues, the film forces us to interpret what isn't seen. Cinematography becomes a language of its own, one built on stillness, space, and isolation. It's about minimalism and emotional economy. The film's performances are stripped of theatricality. No raised voice, no emotional monologues, only subtle gesture and micro expressions. The restaurant scene stands out. The daughter quietly takes out a sweater as she rolls up her sleeve. Her parents notice the bandage on her wrist, sign of self-harm. The father's reaction is quiet but devastating. He doesn't speak. He simply gets up and walks to the bathroom. Inside, we hear only the soft sound of his breath as he leans slightly against the door. This moment seen through the lens of minimalism is more honest than any spoken apology. Drawing on Laura Mulvey's theory, of the cinematic gaze, we can read this as a subversion of typical emotional spectacle. The film does not frame the daughter's trauma for our consumption. It refuses to sensationalize pain. Instead, it invites empathy through quiet recognition. For the next, sound design, the architecture of absence. Sound design in Ciúnas is just as intentional. There is no background score, no music to cue emotions. Instead, we hear what the character hear, the hum of tires, the click of a turn signal, the faint breath between sobs. Ciúnas, in one poignant scene, after the mother denies the daughter request to use her phone, the father softly asks, "Are you hungry?" She doesn't respond with words. She just nods, her eyes full of unshed tears. This tiny gesture, accompanied by silence, communicates more than any dialogue could. It is a surrender, a need for connection that goes unmet. This is where sound becomes emotional texture and absence that speaks volume. For the next, social context, cultural silence, and intergenerational trauma. While Ciúnas never directly addressed political issues, it exists within Ireland's social context post-repeal of the Eighth Amendment. Its emotional silence can be seen as a reflection of generational trauma, institutional repression, and family dysfunction. No one ever names what happened. We never hear why the daughter was hospitalized, but their absence is the point. Irish culture has a long history of avoiding emotional confrontation, particularly around topics like mental health and reproductive rights. Each character's silence represents something different: the daughter powerlessness, the mother rigid control, the father quiet guilt. Together they form a family unable to speak but unable to ignore the silence either. For the last section, emotional structure, refusing closure. The film ends not with resolution but with a gesture of emotional vulnerability. In the final scene, the mother and daughter sit opposite each other. The air is heavy. The mother gently asks to see her daughter's hands. The daughter refuses. Instead of insisting, the mother joins her on the couch and opens a small bag of nail polish. "Stop biting your nails," she says. The daughter, eyes filled with tears, replies, "I'm trying." The mother responds, "Me too." This moment is small, but it's everything. There's no apology, no big confession, just a quiet acknowledgement of pain and a mutual effort to heal. The father returns from the toilet, offers a small, soft smile. It's a fragile gesture, but in the film, built of silence, even a smile can feel redemptive. Overall, Ciúnas silence as expression. Conclusion: Ciúnas masterfully uses film language to express what words cannot. Emotional numbness, buried grief, and the desperate human need for connection. Through mise-en-scene, racing performance, intimate cinematography, and the haunting absence of music, the film builds a world where silence is not emptiness, it's the loudest thing in the room. As a student of film, I believe Ciúnas shows us that cinema doesn't need to speak to be understood. Sometimes the most powerful stories are told in silence. Thank you everyone for watching this video.